My name is Emily Grant and I teach 7th grade English at Charles Henderson Middle School. And we used the iPads today as a class for the first time. We had a project and we used the app Explain Everything. And what was so great about that was that I could see where their mind was at every step in the process. And they took so much pride and ownership over what they did because they were able to use the iPads and use the technology, and it was in their language. And we were working with a plot diagram, and so they had a picture that represented the setting, and then they had a picture that represented the rising action and the climax and the falling action and the theme and the resolution. And by using pictures, I was able to see what they knew about each stage of the plot. And so it was really great to be able to follow their thinking process, because sometimes I don't always think the way they do, and I don't know what they know based on can they answer a multiple choice question, right? So this really got me in their head, and that's what I loved about it. Before we started using the technology in this classroom, my students, I had a problem motivating them, and they couldn't really self-monitor very well. And the volume in the classroom is actually quieter. You would think it would get louder, but they're so excited about what they're doing that they're monitoring themselves. They are pacing themselves. They are evaluating how this isn't good enough, and they'll change their answers, and they'll go back and they'll edit, and they really care so much about their work because they know that it's going to be published, and they know that it's going to go on YouTube, and they know that their parents can see it. And so a lot more care is put into the work because they have so much pride in what they're doing, as opposed to a poster that they're going to make and their teacher will see, and then they take it home and it ends up in the garbage. So they know that this is going to be published, and they care so deeply about it. And so I'm seeing a lot more pride in their work through the iPads. I like using technology in the classroom because I want the students to see that what they do in this class matters, not just in a sense of what their schoolwork matters, but because they're going to be using emails in real life. They're going to need computers to communicate to their bosses, to communicate in the workforce, not just if they're going to college. It doesn't matter if you're college-bound. Technology, you can't escape it. That's the generation that we live in. And when they start using that at a 7th grade level, they can start seeing what they do in this class matters. And it doesn't matter if it's English or social studies or math. You're going to use technology, and to use it and integrate it into those subject areas, it makes what they learn matter to them. And that's why I like it. I hope in the future to show my students that English applies to their professional life, that it's not just finding the subject, finding the verb, finding the preposition in a phrase. That's not the goal. The goal is to use those as building blocks in order to write professional emails and to know the difference between a text message and an email and a typed out letter. I hope to use the I hope to use the Chromebooks to strengthen their typing skills and their email etiquette and their online safety, and I want them to know that English doesn't go away, and that English is the formal way of writing and communicating, and that's also going to connect them to the real world. It's going to connect my classroom to their real life and their real world. I love the TCS Blended initiative because I can have my students bring in their devices, and it doesn't matter what they have, we can work with it. We can play Kahoot. We can find our vocabulary words and their definitions, and find new and better examples of those words and non-examples. And I really enjoy the idea of having my students work on different devices and achieving